everybody. I thought I would make a video today about boundaries and how they intersect with the idea of the law of attraction. This has been on my mind because of some stuff that's gone on in my personal life in the past couple of days, and like a boundary that I had to draw with someone. And essentially I had to push away a connection or an aspect of a connection that I'd previously enjoyed. But I just remember, like, after having this conversation where I drew this boundary, I was like, and now what? Like, now what comes? Because what I have experienced over many years is that when I say no to something that I don't want, generally something that I want does not appear. So it's like my life is like, it feels like this process of like culling. And I feel like I get left with less and less and less. And this happens with work, it happens with people. I don't even know how many times I have said no to something I didn't want or let go of something that wasn't healthy for me, and nothing came to replace it. I was just left even more of an island unto myself because of the fact that I said no. The sad thing is that earlier in my journey, when I had been fresh off of reading The Secret, I was under the illusion that like things really work like this. Like, in order to welcome the things we want, we do need to make space for the things that we want, and we make that space by getting rid of the things we don't want. I think there is some truth in that. I think that sometimes what is preventing the things we want from coming is that we are not making space for it. But where I differ with the law of attraction and its adherents is that I do not believe that we can guarantee that any particular thing or opportunity or person is going to appear just because we made space for it. I used to believe that, and like it was really frustrating when I started to realize that's a nice fairy tale, but that's not the truth. But yeah, like I realize I'm far from the only person who thought this way. You know, like the best examples that I could give you from my own life would be like, I don't know, 15 years ago, a relationship that I was in that was abusive ended. And then I realized like, okay, now there's space for me to have a really healthy, happy partnership and be content. It's been 15 years and I have not had officially a boyfriend ever since. It's not that I didn't want one. It's not that I didn't open my heart to other people. It's not that I didn't tell people that I would have liked for them to be my boyfriend. It just didn't happen. I made space and the space remains. Or, you know, I quit grad school thinking like, now I will have more space in my life for creative fulfillment and abundance in activities that actually bring me some measure of real satisfaction. It's been, I don't know, I guess like 12 years, and I am still on the struggle bus. But my point is, I have made space for the thing I wanted, and the thing I wanted is still not happening. Or like when I moved to China, I talked about this in another video, but I moved to China with this intention that like, I'm going to take risks on myself and create space for like this whole other lifestyle that like, you know, it will give me so much more fulfillment professionally, creatively, romantically, whatever. That didn't happen. I had a really cool experience in China, but like I spent all my time there poor and single and just like feeling isolated and disenchanted and not really having the opportunity to learn the things I wanted to learn or lean into what I wanted to lean into. And it's happened in so many forms throughout my life. You know, the latest thing was a connection with this person that we had a physical relationship previously. That relationship essentially ended like 4 years ago, but I haven't seen this guy in like a year and a half. And I'm just not of the mindset of I want to sit there and sext with him. So like I had to tell him about this, and he was really disappointed by it and by the fact that I'm not like intimately available for him anymore. And I thought like, okay, yeah, this is another shift in our connection. This is another thing that does not fulfill me that I'm saying no to, or a thing that used to fulfill me that I am losing because I just don't feel the same way about it anymore. And I was sitting there with my frustrations about like the whole situation last night. Like, and now what? Like, now what comes? Because all I have done for years and years is say no to things I don't want and reach for things I do want and generally not get those, and then nothing comes in to fill the space. Like, I have spent so many years making space, but space for what? Space for me. Like, the space around me just becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. So, and honestly, I'm kind of used to that by now. And what was really hitting me hard was how many people think that this is how happiness works, that like when we want a thing, we have to make a healthy change. We have to take healthy steps and create healthy boundaries, and then we will receive what we want, as though like the universe gives us a cookie for doing the healthy thing. You don't necessarily get a cookie for doing the baseline healthy thing. Some people do. I think some people's souls really need that at a given point in time. They need the cosmic nudge, like, yes, do the healthy thing. You need more positive reinforcement because like you're strengthening that skill. But I think that, and sometimes it happens just because of dumb luck and just because that's your path and that's your journey. It doesn't mean you're not an advanced soul. But then there are some of us that like the universe is like, good job. And there's nothing that comes like to fill the void until God knows when. But you can't micromanage the universe. Like, you can't extort the things you want out of life by, you can't game it, essentially. You can't decide, like, I'm going to make this change and therefore this must result, you have to give it to me. It just doesn't happen that way. It makes me really sad when people think that they are going to get what they want for rejecting what they don't want. Because it's always healthy. It is always good to reject what you don't want. But if you're telling yourself that you are making space for the good thing and that it must then come promptly, you're setting yourself up for a lot of unnecessary disappointment. You just are. I'm sorry, like, I know that this is not a very uplifting message, but the truth is, like, you have to learn essentially how to look at healthy changes and decisions that honor your true self and what you truly want, not as a means to an end, but as ends in themselves. Because with every one of those things that you are casting off, you are essentially, you're collecting more of your own energy for your own purposes and your own happiness. But it doesn't mean that when one thing goes, another thing is going to just like step in and fill the void right away. It might, but it's not really a cause and effect thing. There's a danger in assuming that it is a cause and effect thing, because then that prompts you in the wrong frame of mind to think about like, well, what else can I give up? What else can I give away? What else can I let go? And you might not need to or even want to give up anything else, but you're just convinced you need to make space, make space, make space. No. So I felt like this really needed to be said about boundaries, because what the law of attraction has to say about boundaries and making space, I don't feel like it's genuinely helpful for people. It is helpful to be inspired to draw a healthy boundary and make a healthy change and let go of a thing that you don't want, genuinely do not want. That's always healthy to do, but it's not healthy to expect that you're going to receive a specific reward in exchange. It's not healthy to expect that you will do this for the cookie, like for the cosmic cookie. No, the universe would probably hope that we make healthy changes for the sake of healthy changes, that like we engage in at least baseline level healthy behavior for our own happiness and fulfillment, not necessarily for some cosmic reward. I'm not saying that happiness will never come. I'm not saying that the voids in your life will never be filled. I'm not saying that you don't have to make space. I think sometimes there are really important steps we need to take that can pave the way for what we want in the future. But the idea that like, it's like those little kinetic desk toys where one ball hits the rest and another bounces. Like, that's not how it works. Like, it happens like right away. That's not usually how reality works. So yeah, all right. thank you for listening. Thank you for letting me get this out there. I have so many frustrations with how people see the law of attraction, but those we will let them be their own topics for another time. Thanks for tuning in, and I will catch you next time.